Hello there, welcome to the channel, Living Life on Less. My name is Liz, my husband's name is David, and we discuss all things money saving, frugal living, living life on that bit less. We've now been doing this money saving, frugal living channel, Living Life on Less, for just under a year. And the one thing I do notice about the channel is how well old-fashioned money saving videos do. Tips and ways of living from times gone by that we can make relevant for today. What makes them so popular, I think, is that people with a lot less resources, a lot less money, with a lot less than what we have today, could live a full and happy life. If they could do that back then with all the problems and issues that they faced, what could we do now with the things we have to make our lives as comfortable as possible, very often while saving money and resources? I think it's comfortable and warming that we can look back into the past and learn from our forefathers and foremothers and relations and relatives from times gone by of how to survive on less and how to thrive on less, and step away from the consumerism that we have in modern society and the throwaway society that we have of excess packaging, throwaway clothing, all the different things that take us into debt or take money from us, and money that could be available for more important resources away from us. So this video is all about a little blast again into the past of frugal living from times gone by, frugal savers to save us money, to save us resources, and to help us get by these tough times. Because at the moment, in the last few years, we've had a cost of living crisis, and things are particularly looking like they're getting better, stagnating slightly, things are balancing out a little bit, but still many of us are pushed with where we put our money, where do we put our focus, and some of us are really struggling. Hopefully this video will give a few frugal tips from times gone by on how we can get by today.
You only have to go into a supermarket and look at the array of cleaners and scourers and bleachers and window cleaners and specialised kitchen cleaners and bathroom cleaners to know we have different chemicals thrown at us through every advertising opportunity, making us believe that we need all these different products. Times gone by, it was very simple. Soap, bleach, vinegar, bicarb of soda, and elbow grease. Throw in a collection of rags and brushes and other cleaning implements, and your house could be clean from top to bottom. Windows were washed with vinegar and water and dried with old newspaper. This really got the window to clean. If we want to buy a specific window cleaner in the UK, at today's money, it would cost us £3.40. That would be a lot more costly than windows washed with water and vinegar. To save money, people would hand wash smalls in the evening rather than get the washing machine on. They would hand wash in the bowl with soap and would wash tights, stockings, socks, bras, that kind of thing, by hand, roll in a towel to remove most of the water, then hang to dry in the air overnight. This was more cost effective, washing this small amount of clothing at night rather than having a load in the washing machine, and nowadays the load in the washing machine and then onto the dryer. And spot cleaning rather than washing a full garment. If you had a relatively clean garment of clothing and you got a small mark of dirt or dust on it, spot cleaning that area with soap and water and then leaving to dry would save money and the integrity of the item, because fabrics will only take so many washes before they start to fall apart or lose their shape or wear out. Protecting your clothes was important from having to wash them all the time. So what would happen is adults would use aprons or overcoats when they're doing household chores or dirty jobs, and children would also have shirts that used to belong to dad worn back to front and fastened up the back so their clothes were protected if they were doing something messy, painting, crafting, messing in the garden or whatever. To reduce ironing, which was expensive and time consuming, damp clothes would gently be stretched into shape before hanging to dry. To get more out of a block of laundry soap, it would be grated, soaked in water, mixed in, and used as a liquid. You can also make a homemade laundry soap using horse chestnuts, or conkers as they are commonly called, as they are full of saponins, which is basically soap. You peel the conkers, chop up the white flesh on the inside, soak in warm water, leave for 30 minutes, agitate a little bit, and then sieve off the liquid. The liquid can then be kept in a bottle in the fridge and it will last up to 2 weeks. All you need is a capful with each wash. It makes wonderful softening bubbles. Some people even make horse chestnut shampoo for their hair. That is how effective the saponins in horse chestnuts are. As horse chestnuts are seasonal, you can actually peel the horse chestnuts, dehydrate them, and they will last longer in a jar, just to be added to hot water as and when you want a new batch of the soap made.
In times gone by, any type of fabric, wool, cotton would not be wasted. If something had served its purpose, didn't fit anymore, it would be recycled and made good into something new. Now I've actually started knitting myself a over the knee blanket for this winter. I have decided that I don't want the green wool in it, and what I'm going to do is pull out the green and reuse this green wool for something else. However, what you do find is with wool that has been knitted, it's very crinkly. And I can remember my grandma in times gone by when she would pull out an old jumper that no longer fitted to use the wool for re-knitting. What she would do is get out the wrinkles of the wool to make it easier to knit again. And how she'd do that is a very, very simple method, and I'm going to show you now. So if you need to pull out any old jumpers or old blankets and want to re-knit it into something else, there's a perfect way of getting your wool just as good as new before you start knitting again. So I've got a section of my unravelled wool that's been pulled out from knitted, and as you can see it's wrinkly, it looks like it's got a bit of a perm on it, which makes it difficult to knit up next time. Any of you knitters out there know how expensive wool is now, so this is a great way of recycling wool rather than buying new. So I've got a bowl of hot water. It's hot, but it's not hotter than my hands can bear. So it's probably sort of straight out of your tap with a little bit of cold added. It's just plain water, warm. And what I'm going to do is pop the wool into the water. I'm going to make sure the wool is soaked in the water. Then I'm just going to leave it for 10 minutes and let the water and the heat do its stuff. So we'll be back in 10 minutes. Okay, it's 10 minutes in. The wool's soaked in the water well. And all I'm going to do now is just pull the water off with my fingers. And this is also going to help straighten the wool. So all the excess is coming off. Just do it a couple of times. All the excess water into the bowl. Now I'm going to hang the wool to dry. And in between me straightening it, the damp weight and the drying, the wool is going to be lovely and straight to be knitted with. And now I'm just going to pop all my wool that's damp and straightened over an old coat hanger and left to dry for 24 hours. Then tomorrow I shall ball it up and it'll be ready to knit with. Something else I do think we waste a lot of money on these days is packaging. Not only on the items we bring in from the shops, the plastic and the box and things, but the packaging we buy for ourselves, such as sandwich bags or the baggies or the tin foil or the greaseproof paper, all the things we might actually buy and then just use once and bin. And this is actually a piece of cotton from a tablecloth that I had that I scorched, that I was ironing, and I'd scorched it. So it couldn't really be used as a tablecloth anymore because it was quite unsightly. So what I did was cut it down into squares, hem them. I actually hemmed them by hand because the sewing machine was packed away at this point, but I hemmed them by hand watching television one evening, and used this for packing sandwiches. Now all you have to do is pack your sandwich, as long as it's not sort of a real leaky or juicy one, but pack your sandwich. I just use elastic band to keep it in place and then pop it in the bag, and it will keep fresh till lunchtime. You just then, when you've finished using the cotton wrap, bring it home to wash it. Some people waterproof them with beeswax by putting beeswax on them, then ironing them, but I tend to find this absolutely fine. It just goes in the wash with all my tea towels at the end of the day or the end of the week, whenever I've collected enough tea towels together for a wash. And it can be reused again and again for sandwiches, for cookies, for pasties, for pastries, anything that's not soaking wet, and it just keeps your food all nicely together. And you can hold it together with string. I've used an old elastic band, but that will keep me going for quite a few years.
Looking to reuse and recycle everything you have is a great way of stretching out your money and saving you money. For example, if you use bleach, or Clorox is another common name for it in different countries, to soak stained teacups, stained coffee cups, plates, knives, forks, etc., don't throw away the bleached water when you've finished with it. You can then soak your dishcloths in the water to help clean and brighten them. When you've finished soaking your dishcloths, you can then pour the water into a bucket and mop any floors that can take a bleach clean. And finally, from the bucket, pour the bleached contents into the toilet to leave overnight. That'll help de-stain and de-germ your toilet. Using bleach to clean 4 different things from one amount is good for your pocket and good for the environment. The less harsh chemicals we use, the better. One of our biggest and most flexible household bills is the food and grocery bill. According to the internet, the average household throws away 1.5 tonnes per year of food. This is in the UK. In Australia, it's 2.5 tonnes of waste food is thrown away every year. And according to the same survey on the internet, in the USA, up to 1/3 of household food is wasted and thrown away. I don't imagine many of you watching this channel fall into any of those brackets of food wastage, but only buying what we're going to use or using up fully what we do have will save us money and shrink that very large food bill. Times gone by, fresh foods would have drawers or shelves which were designated to be eaten first. This was to stop spoilage. Also, foods would be preserved very carefully, whether they was in airtight jars or brown paper bags or dark cupboards to stop light spoiling the food. When it comes to food spoilage, your senses are a lot more reliable than the best before dates. Your 2 senses that work best for telling if food is spoiled is your sense of smell and your eyesight. Does it smell offensive, ripe, or different? Does it look different from usual? Is it leaking? Does it have mold or mildew on it? In times gone by, food would not be thrown away unless it was absolutely ruined. Even then, sometimes people would risk getting food poisoning because due to poverty and lack of food, starving would have been the alternative. From times gone by, some food hacks to make food go further would include making soups or stews from vegetable leaves and peelings, chilling canned meats in the fridge before slicing so you could get a lot thinner slice, saving any meat fat for dripping, frying, or roasting other vegetables, turning gone off or soured milk into bakery items such as scones, having porridge made with water rather than milk so you could save the milk for another meal, and having a stodgy cheap flour-based pudding to fill empty bellies. We have a lot more food options these days, but some cheap food ideas from the past include bean hot pot, cheese and onion pie, tinned fish cakes, stuffed cabbage leaves, veggie-filled stews and soups, bananas and custard, and baked apples sprinkled with cinnamon and sugar.
Have you got any old-fashioned money-saving frugal tips that you use, that was passed down to you, that really helps you stretch your money and utilise your resources to the fullest? Let us know in the comments down below. If you like the content of the video, please give us a thumbs up. If you'd like more money-saving, frugal living videos, please subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back again soon with another money-saving video. Wherever you are in this wonderful world, we hope you have a truly blessed day. Bye for now.